All right, another day, another Nathan meal. Let's get some fresh chicken broth in here with the smallest spoon imaginable. Let me change that. I can't seriously fill up my cup with this spoon. This is a stirring spoon, not a serving spoon. Let's try this again. Something a little bit more practical. That is more like it. Much better. Much better. I was going to let that go for a couple more hours, but it actually has taken on an extremely dark color. I quite like that. It means it's just a lot of thick fat in the broth. I mean, look at that. Fantastic. It's good to be back home, healthy enough, start taking down some real food again. Never get tired of chicken and rice. Although I am already thinking about going back to Japan. We're going to have to wait a little bit for our toast because that broth is going to be a little too hot even for me to drink right now. But other than that broth and the pot of coffee I drank earlier, we're completely food-free today. No food. So I'm looking forward to this meal. A massive, nearly 2.5 pound meal yesterday. Haven't eaten since then. This meal is going to be slightly smaller, I have a feeling. It's going to be slightly smaller. You know what? I think I've already made a mistake. No rice going. No. This whole time, no rice going. That's not good. Let's fix that. Yeah, let's try not rinsing our rice this time. It's jasmine rice. Put about 1.5 cups of water in there. Dang, we might have a cut in this video. Let's take our bacon out. See if that startled you as much as it startled me. A bunch of little pieces of bacon this time around. When I buy bacon bits, this is what I actually imagine getting. Not these big, long strands of bacon that I've been blessed with. This is some real bacon bits right here. It's interesting, this is not a non-stick pan. So the outline of the bacon actually burns into the bottom of the pan from time to time. I'll scrub it and scrub it and scrub it and it won't come out. So let's put some potatoes in. Alright, and now, if you are still watching, let's grab this amazing chicken broth. It's fantastic. It's extremely thick, nearly burning my hand right now. Let's have ourselves a little sip. Let's see if we can just, let me stir this up a little bit. That is the downside of having broth with so much fat and oil content, is that the oil rises to the top and will just burn the crap out of your mouth. So let's try this again. Yeah, I'm glad I let that sit. We added some paprika and some chili flakes to that broth. I'll show you how I made it tomorrow. Look at the color on that. It's so fantastic. That is definitely a spicier broth, what I'm typically used to. Very good though. Yeah, depending on how the rest of it comes out. It looks really thick. I don't think the color is because of how hot it is. I think it's the fat content. So this might be one of the first broths that we have that we actually cut with some more water after the fact. Might freeze some of this. Chicken cut up. Although I do like the skin, the toughest part about it is getting it cut into nice pieces. So we're going to try to ribbon this all the way down. There we go. Good. Good, good, good. It's nice to have good chunks of chicken. You need to cut that down any less. Now that chicken broth is both hot from a spiciness perspective and hot from a literal heat perspective. So I don't believe that I will be needing any sort of sriracha today. Let's do some soy sauce instead. Had someone comment this on the last video, but egg prices are still pretty high over here. I imagine it'll be at least another 2 months until they come back down. I could see it being sooner, but you know, A chicken takes about 100 days to grow until it's good laying age. With some of the processes Americans have, we can shorten the amount of time that takes to get them to laying age. And then I imagine it'll take some time to recirculate that egg process to normal levels throughout the country. And then it'll take probably a little bit longer after that as well for these egg producing companies to normalize their prices again. Actually, let me rephrase. The egg receiving companies, like I have a Walmart near me. I bet even when they're receiving normal amounts of eggs again, and there's no shortage, they'll probably still keep their prices up for a while and slowly bring them down so that they can pad their profit margins, which is not ideal, but it is to be expected. But anyway, I bring all of that up because still no eggs today. It doesn't make sense when you are someone like me that eats, about 4 eggs a day. Like how many eggs is that a month? 120 eggs a month? Can you imagine spending 60, 70, 80 bucks a month on eggs? That's ridiculous. I'm not going to be spending 60 to 80 dollars a month on eggs. Yeah, that's about half of my existing grocery budget on eggs. Alright, so these both are pretty well cooked. Let's add our onions. Let those soften up first a little bit. I mean, you don't even really need to fry them. Just kind of let the residual heat inside the pan cook it up for you. Our rice will be done here shortly. Again, just look at that beautiful, beautiful color. You can see some of the pepper flakes. I think that's probably why I'm having the reaction when I am drinking the broth. It's because usually I'll strain all of that out. So all that seasoning, all those pepper flakes that are rising to the top, I usually strain all of that out before I put that broth away. It was funny, while I was in Japan, you'll go to different, so if you go to a Mexican restaurant, they'll have like a little chili pepper next to it in a menu item to let you know it's especially hot. They have the same thing in Japan where hot food is not normally consumed there. And so some restaurants, some locations will have one food item that's supposed to be hot for people that do like hot food. It's supposed to be, for tourists. Hey, if you want hot food, you can come over here and you can get the spicy food here. And I probably went to 3, 4, 5 different places getting that spicy food. And I got to tell you, it wasn't spicy at all. You know, in some cases, you almost didn't taste that had any spice. So I grabbed dinner with my roommate and his friend, and the one person that we knew from Japan the last time that we went there. And he asked us if we were okay with spicy food. We, of course, said yes. And he brought out, I don't even remember what it's called, but it was, you just basically had these, it was like little tortillas. It was like dumpling dough, really thin dumpling dough. And you would put some filling in the dumpling dough and you would eat it, you know, on your own. I wish I knew the name of it because it's just some unique food. But anyway, that dumpling filling was by far the spiciest stuff that I'd eaten in Japan. And frankly, it almost got me. It almost got me. The guy that we were with, who's lived in Japan his whole life, he kicked our butts. I mean, me especially. I'm usually good with spicy food. Drinking this broth reminds me of that. You know, just taking the sip and going, you've all been there? I was doing that a lot around the guy over there. Yeah, he was absolutely kicking my butt, so. Not a lot of spicy food in Japan, but now that I think about it, we actually went, he brought us to a Chinese restaurant. And that's probably why he brought us there, because they serve some really hot dumpling filling, some spicy dumpling filling. And he likes spicy food. It was really good. I'll have you know though, that guy that we met up with, he fed us so good while we were out there. We started out at that Chinese place, and he started us out with some appetizers and some dumplings and some gyoza. I mean, it was just, you know what I'm talking about, like the bao, and then like the dumplings, and the gyoza were something else. He brought out the filling that we can eat on our own. He brought out just all sorts of stuff, and I thought that was just the appetizer. But no, he kept it coming with just probably 7 different food items, and we ate it until we were full. And we left, and he said, "Well, what about ramen?" And we go, "Well, of course we want ramen. Sure, I mean we're starving, but you're our host, and you're suggesting ramen. Sure, why not? We'll do ramen." We went out to this really authentic ramen place that had a fish broth. Unlike anything we had ever seen. It was very clear that this was not a foreigner-friendly place. I mean, they were friendly to us, but this means I don't think that there were many foreigners that went to Japan and had that ramen place on our list. Yeah, no English menu, nothing like that. But by the end of the day, we were on the train back home just dying. Our stomachs just absolutely retching from the amount of food that we had consumed. Awesome food though. That guy treated us really well. Really, really well. So cheers to you, Yagi-san. Yeah, that broth is extremely good. So we're just going to let this warm up. We'll add our rice, add a little bit of soy sauce. It'll be the last of my soy sauce. We'll weigh that, and that'll be my meal for the day. So we've made, despite messing up on the rice, our rice is done and ready to go. We're just going to let that chicken heat up, and we'll call it good. Might as well check on the broth while I'm here. Just have it barely simmering right now, which is good. I'll even take up the heat just a little bit. I might have lost some heat. I think I lost some heat when I was taking out the broth for myself this at the beginning of the video. Yeah, and you can just see the quality of the broth and seasoning there. That's how you know it's good. So it has a little particulate at the bottom. That's how we knew the ramen shop broth was excellent. Okay, and there we go. Chicken heating up. Yeah, this will be a normal sized meal today, not the jumbo one we had the other day. So, potato, really soft actually, and the onion. Softer than I expected. I like a good crunch. It's my onion. Okay. So we'll unplug that. We're going to go with the rice, a whole cup of rice. Yeah, so this is a cup of rice, 1 potato, 1 medium-sized onion, and a full chicken breast. So, you might still be hungry before I go to bed tonight. If I am, I'll just have a little cup noodle. Let's see, how do I want to do this? I'm almost tempted to put this broth in here with it because it's so oily. I think I will. Turn the temperature up just a little bit. Rinse this out. Another thing you can do that's really nice is cook the rice itself in the chicken broth while it's in the crock pot. I really like that. But just keep in mind you're going to have more sticking to the pan when you do that. So yeah, look, I don't know if you can get a good visual of that, but all of that liquid that I put in there is just soaked into the rice. So the rice is a little more wet now. There's no more liquid at the bottom of the pan. So very, very good. Excuse me. Like I said, I'm still fighting a little bit of sickness. I usually get sick about once a year. Noah and I both kind of keep that sickness pattern. I usually get sick before him and figure out a way to not get him sick, and then after I'm completely healed, he'll get sick about a week or a month later. And my little flu-like or sickness symptoms usually persist for like a couple of weeks. So I've been sick for a couple of weeks, but I've only needed to like lay down and take a nap in the middle of the day once. I only had trouble sleeping once. And other than that, I've been able to more or less just keep a typical schedule. But no matter how many vitamins I take or what type of remedies I try, usually persist for a couple of weeks. However, if I don't take the remedies, I will have trouble sleeping. And I will not be able to keep a regular schedule. Yeah, so this is really nice. I'm lucky with the broth. You could have done it with regular broth, but I'm lucky that the broth was so oily. Because without all of that additional oil, it would not have stuck to the rice as well. So perfect. Get some of this extra rice off because it's sticky. We've turned this jasmine rice into sticky rice. Put this over here. Put some water on it. Let's try this out. Let's try this out. So, weight equals 0. We'll put it to pounds. Put that on here. Well, you know what? That's a little heavier than I thought it would be. 2.3, 2.29, rounded up 2.3 pounds. So not bad. I think that broth had something to do with it. I think that broth probably helped. Yeah, 2.3 pound meal. All with a lot of really low caloric density food, with the exception of probably the potatoes. I'm not gonna bother checking my macros or anything like that, but I'd say that's probably 1,500 to 1,700 calories, which is not bad. I'm gonna love consuming this, and I'll see you all in a video tomorrow. That's where I'm gonna show you how I make my chicken broth. It's super easy. You guys can make it at home, no problem. So thanks for tuning in. Appreciate you guys watching. Bye.